I feel it. But if I want to use fuel, it's 60,000 naira that I can feel. So you can compare the difference. So it's very, very economical and very good and very safe to use.
Due to the lack of availability, some drivers express their grievances over the amount of time they have to spend on the queue before they can purchase the compressed natural gas.
6 in the morning, this engine would enjoy, but 6 in the morning, I dey here 5 o'clock, I dey do along. I know if you come out to work, the thing dey very hard. And I beg, with the beg president, this way he initiate to us, it dey very, very good. I would thank him so much. But the only thing is that advice I won't give government before you go bring something come to introduce to the public, make you try put provision in place first before bringing those things out. Now the thing they would enjoy, but to get at they very hard.
Users of compressed natural gas speak about the safety and durability of the commodity.
Depends on the conversion. If it's from a locally, although they have stopped it, the ones that happen in Benin is a local made cylinder. So since then we have not been having any issue concerning explosion. So the safety and is very okay for engine.
The availability of CNG station is a key factor in its adoption, over which Nigerians have called on the president and NNPC to build more CNG stations. Nigerians have hailed the president for the initiative of the compressed natural gas, and they have actually confessed to the fact that it is way more cheaper and safer for them to use for their cars as well. But they've made complaint that availability has been a concern when it comes to the compressed natural gas. They've called on the president to make more availability and create more initiatives to have this compressed natural gas all over.
All right, thank you so much, Sam, for that report right now. And joining me to talk about CNG issues in Nigeria right now is Prince Charles Amadi. You're welcome to the desk, Prince Charles Amadi.
Thank you for having me, Prince Chris Amadi, once again.
Okay, Chris Amadi. I don't know why I keep calling you Charles.
Prince Chris Amadi.
Okay,
yeah.
Chris Amadi, you're
Yes,
welcome.
Yes,
so
sir.
let's delve into the conversation. First, what is CNG?
Okay, CNG, like you rightly see in the report, is a compressed natural gas. Just compressed natural gas. It's an extract, extract from natural distinct source, unlike other sources of energy you have that goes through the refining process. But this one is just trapped, piped, and be able to use. So that's why it's in that state of nature.
All right. It took us a while as a country to get to this point of even being able to talk about CNG. And right now, we are here talking about CNG, which is, you said it's a natural gas.
The compressed
natural gas, as it stands right now. Why is it taking us even longer to get a lot of sensitization out there to what the CNG is all about?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me, like I said earlier on. Then secondly, everything that has to do with products is driven by need or supply. The subject of the compressed natural, the CNG, is not entirely new in Nigeria. The initiative started sometime in 2007 with NIPCO. They started in 2007. And they gave it up to some places, like in the south, in Benin, in Lagos, and some other places. But then, because of the prevailing cost, the prevailing price of alternative energy, then there wasn't need, there wasn't pressure, there wasn't need actually to gravitate towards the natural gas. But the CNG started gaining momentum in 2015 when the previous administration came in and increased the PMS, that's the petroleum price, from 97 naira to 195, around 195 or something like 197, around something like that. Then the price began to propel people to gravitate towards the CNG. So from there, people were still there. There was still no much pressure on it as it used to be. People could afford 100 and something naira for the petroleum product. Then, in 2023, when subsidy removal came in, and price began to increase. 2024, it moved up to 1,000 and above. People didn't have any other choice. That was now when it looks as if they started the CNG agenda, when the presidential initiative on CNG was put in place. But before then, the CNG arrangement has always been on ground. It's just that people didn't need it then.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, for many Nigerians, they've come out to say that the CNG, first, is not safe. Secondly, is not reliable. Then thirdly, the proximity of the possibility of an explosion to happen with a CNG cylinder is very high. But you are an expert in this field. Enlighten us on this. How correct are some of these narratives?
That statement is over 90% false. The subject of the risk or the safety issues around the CNG. And I say it's over 90% false because organizations, companies like Dangote PLC, has been using CNG since 2007 for their trucks. They use both LNG and CNG for their gas generally for their trucks. Whenever have you heard that one of Dangote's truck had explosion from gas? There was an issue sometime last year in Benin where there was an explosion, and that was at the time that the CNG was gaining this awareness over the nation, and people always cite that instance as a situation to say it was not safe. Like the person that was speaking on air said, these kits are expensive, and sometimes Nigerians, being who we are, we try to maneuver or to manipulate these things. Where people look at it, you think that the CNG cylinder has something close to the LPG, that's the cooking gas cylinder. So when you try to improvise, to modify the gas cylinder, the LPG cylinder, to now use it for the vehicle. In fact, that particular one that happened in Benin is at the point of dispensing that the thing exploded. It couldn't take it. But the CNG cylinder that is certified, that is brought in by, certified by a presidential initiative on CNG, and that we use here, in the thickness of it is close to a bulletproof in the thickness of the strength of the iron. It's specially made for that purpose, and you can never hear anywhere that the CNG this thing exploded. It's not possible. And that's why since that last year, many people have been using, people have used it for years. You will not hear something like that. So it's all a question on the question of quality of the kits that we are used. So apart from that, CNG in its character itself is lesser inflammable than any other energy you know. The rating or the ratio, the inflammability index of CNG compared to this PMS, that's the premium motor spirit that we know, it's like the inflammability relationship between fuel and kerosene, DPK. Yes, so people hear gas and what comes to their mind is gas. Oh, everybody is scared, just like they feel about the cooking gas. The CNG is closer to the gas you use in your AC. It's closer to the AC gas than the LPG. LPG is a liquefied petroleum gas. It's a refined product. Why this one is a natural gas? It doesn't pass through this thing. So it's inflammable, yes, at a reasonable distance, not just pick up like that. It doesn't happen that way. It's a safer energy. It's a safer energy, yeah.
Interesting. So invariably you're saying right now that the CNG gas does not explode, the one we have right now. The one that was introduced by the presidential committee for the CNG.
The cylinder, the storage facility, yes. The storage facility for CNG is the cylinder. The spec of cylinder, like what you're saying there, the spec of the cylinder that we use in the country now, you cannot inject this thing on it and it explodes. It's specially made for that purpose. Have you seen the cylinder that captures gas in the hospitals?
Yeah.
The one that uses oxygen in the hospital. Yeah. Have you tried to lift up on them before?
Very weighty.
The thickness of cylinders, even the cylinder for the LPG, the cooking gas, you see sometimes it's heavy. CNG is about 3 or 4 times heavier than cooking gas of the same size. because of the thickness of the iron.
All right. So invariably, if one wants to delve into the CNG field or want to start using CNG, invariably, now we cannot use this normal gas for cooking gas. Cylinder for
no. LPG, it will not even receive it. That's what caused that explosion in Benin. It will not receive it. It was at the point of dispensing that the explosion took place. So there is a facility that is specially specified for that, and that's the CNG cylinder.
All right.
Various sizes.
So let's move away from the safety measures of the CNG. Let's talk about the affordability. A lot of people will say that the CNG, yes, it's quite it's durable. It lasts long on when you put it on your fuel, on your car, and it takes you long distance. But then it tends to be a little bit scarce, and wherever you find it, it tends to be very, very expensive. But then you are in this field. I'll correct again. Is this narrative around the cost of
first
CNG?
of all, on a point of correction, CNG does not is not more durable in use than alternative like PMS. That is to say, if you use a vehicle that a full tank of your car is 50 liters, and 50 liters of fuel can give you 300 kilometer mileage and usage, CNG will not give you 300 kilometers. CNG in the same distance they complete that the full cylinder might give you about 200 kilometers. So in terms of durability, PMS is more durable than this thing. But in terms of cost, in terms of price, like we saw, one SCM, the average cylinder that we use here is about 15 SCM, which is approximately about 75 liters. To fill it with gas will cost about by 230 naira per SCM. So the 15 of them should be about close to 4,000 naira or thereabouts. The full cylinder, about 4,000 naira to get it full, if you get it like that. Whereas the fuel side of it, 50 liters, you know, at the price that they are giving from about 880 or 890 thereabouts. It's been a while since I bought fuel last, so I don't know exactly how much it's going about, between 890 and 900 thereabouts. So if you do 50 liters, you're looking about for something thousand. So you're looking for something thousand over 4,000. That's about 10% of the cost of petrol, the PMS. So in terms of the cost, the CNG is ahead because it's cheaper.
Oh, but the converting process, is it not equivalent to the cost of even buying a fuel?
Oh, okay. The conversion, the cost of the conversion would have been, at the time it was expensive, but government came in with an intervention, a subsidy on it, especially on the commercial drivers, where they have up to 50% subsidy on it. You see that? Then also, some other players like ourselves, Metropolitan Energy, we also do one or two things around that to ensure that it becomes affordable for private.
When you say affordable, can we put a price tag to it? Because before now, people say they do this for 1.2 million.
Something that was supposed to cost you between 1.5 and 1.2 million ordinarily, if you can be able to get it for 800,000, it's not affordable.
Do the mathematics and take out the 800,000 naira on top of it and add it to fuel. Won't it be fair to advise now commercial drivers to rather do fuel than do?
I am a very dynamic person. I'm a very mobile person. I drive a lot. I go around all the time. So at the time, I was spending close to 100,000 weekly on fuel. Close to 100,000. Because a full tank, let's assume you work in central area and you live in Kubwa and you drive maybe a 4 or 6 cylinder Highlander, ordinary one. 60 liters is your full tank at 950-something thousand naira. If 50 liters take you 1 week, it means you're not moving, you're not doing much. If you do much, in 3-4 days your 50 liters will be done. So you will do about full tank about 7-8 times in a month. By 50,000, it's already giving you more than 300,000. So in 3 months, you spend the money that should have gone into conversion. Then if you do the conversion for 800, In the next 6 months, you've recovered it and you're now living a free life from the bondage of fuel.
Interesting mathematics there. But let's look at issues around tankers explosion, even in recently in Niger State. It said most of these tankers are CNG tankers. And you've said most of the tankers are petrol tankers. I beg your pardon. They are petrol tankers that fell, and one thing led to another. People were going to take fuel for themselves and I don't know for whatever reason. But let's look at all of this. Is it possible what's the possibility of a CNG tanker or a tanker carrying or a truck carrying CNG to collapse? What's the possibility of an outbreak of fire?
Like I've told you, CNG versus every other source of energy that we have available, in inflammability, CNG is the lowest.
So you're saying if a CNG truck falls in Niger State, the possibility of being flammable?
No. It will not go ablaze. CNG trucks are not like tankers. They are not like other oil product tankers. They are like cylinders. They are like tubes. I don't know if you've seen some of these tankers that carry things like tubes. That's CNG. That's a truck. It's called cascade. It's something like this. It's called cascade. It's straight. You see them straight. That's how it is.
And if it falls heavily on the ground, it's.
I told you that the thickness of that iron is bulletproof. So there is no height it falls to and hits on the ground and it explodes. No, it's specially meant for that purpose because of the strength. What makes CNG actually risky is the compression. It's gas. It's compressed with force. So it's like when you take something that is almost as big as this room, then you compress it into something of this size. So the force on it is much. You understand? But not because of the tendency of going ablaze or that. That's that. But another thing people need to bear in mind when it comes to energy is that almost every form of energy has some level of risk associated with it. Let's take, for instance, electricity. Is electricity risky?
Well, I'm not an engineer. I might not be able to give an accurate answer on that. Right?
There is no law anywhere on earth that tells somebody that don't touch electricity. It's a natural instinct that tells person that there's something risky about electricity. But the fact that electricity has some level of risk associated with it, does it hinder people from having light in their houses? So now that is how it associates also with every other form. If you look at inflammability, if you look at chances of explosion or all that, CNG is very, very safe. It's very, very safe. See, the installation of the dispensing point in your vehicle is in the normally in the bonnet. The position for the storage is in the boot. That's where your cylinder is. So there is a distance between, and there are many safety junctions that are put in place to ensure. Let's assume that you have a leaking gas. Maybe something happened and the one in your business is leaking. You go to the back and lock it up. Just the way you do a gas in your kitchen. When you discover that your gas is leaking, you close it up. And it's not like gases that diffuse and attract fire like that. No, that's not how it happens.
All right. So why I'm asking this is because there are speculations, even there are whispers that says that some of the truck explosion and tankers explosions in some of the states.
Niger State and Ogun State, basically, mostly.
Niger State,
which
has been on the radar for the wrong reasons of truck explosions lately. There's a possibility that it's due to CNG. So I wanted to get that clarification from you.
I haven't seen most petroleum product trucks on CNG. Most vehicles, trucks I see on CNG are mostly Dangote, and other ones that convey cement, and those ones that have the pickup back, that's the tipper back that carries trailer and carries cement and other ones. Most ones that have this the tank for the PMS and all this thing, mostly I've not really seen most of them on CNG or LNG. You understand?
Yeah.
So now, what I want to advise, because any new initiative, any new technology that comes in place, people are always scared. I remember when growing up, at the time when we started barbing with clippers on our own, people will say, no, don't barb with clippers, electricity, does this, does that. They'll try to discourage it. When people were using charcoal stove and kerosene stove and gas came in, people were so scared, I will not have gas in my house, I don't want to do it, burns houses, it does that. But most people today are using gases in their place. And I'm very sure that their houses have not burned, isn't it? So all these things, what it really requires is carefulness, because you're dealing with a source of energy. So CNG is just like any other one of them. But with the fear that people is just being skeptical without, it's not harmful at all. It's not harmful at all.
All right, so moving on, let's talk CNG in terms of its scarcity right now.
Availability.
Availability, most people will say that marketers like CNG marketers like yourself and also petroleum marketers, that's the IPMAN, Independent Petroleum Marketers of Nigeria, have a hand in the scarcity to create some form of artificial scarcity. Again, I want to put you at the spot, even on air this moment. Is it true that marketers deliberately hoard the product in order to cause an artificial scarcity?
Okay, I like the fact that you say it's expectation or a rumor that there is an intentional sabotage, that's effort of the oil and gas marketers to sabotage the progress of CNG. I will want to say a capital no to that. And the reason is this. To install a dispensing facility, a CNG dispensing facility in any location is very capital intensive. It might cost you above 300 million to achieve that. And besides the financial intensity of it, there is also procedure. There is procedure, there are steps, there are things you need to do. You need to go to DPR and you will need to get a site approval for CNG. You need to get the authority to construct CNG. You need to get an operational license for CNG. Then you have other agencies of government also that you need to reach out for various work that they have to do in it, approval and all this. So it's actually not easy to get this done within a very short time and maybe do a crash work in it, and in the next 1 month, 2 months, you get CNG. And I also think sometime last year, toward the end of last year, we had about 6, NNPC came in and they commissioned 6 outlets for CNG. But today we have about 2 or 4 more in Abuja here. So it's coming up, it's gradual. It's not as bad as it used to be. So it's also something that have to be with time, because it's developmental.
But the pace seems very slow, because a lot of people are already converting their cars to CNG, and what we've seen even in the Federal Capital Territory is a very large queues, even in various areas and axes of the Federal Capital Territory. And most people have attributed this to marketers being trying to manipulate the system. So since you are in that field, that's why I need to put this out there, so that for us to know if actually it's your team and on the IPMAN that are behind the whole manipulation. So that's why I'm asking that question.
I've told you that 1, is capital intensive. 2, there are procedures.
So, but if it is capital intensive, there's no possibility for marketers and also marketers even of various energy products to partner with various fuel stations and filling stations around the country to ensure that they can speed up the process, knowing full well that a lot of Nigerians are already engaging with the CNG product in itself.
There are many, besides the operational or besides the process or procedure for this thing, there are other challenges associated in it. One of them is logistics at the moment. In Abuja here, for you to have CNG available in any station in Abuja, you have to go to Lokoja to pick it off Majokuta. Government is already making efforts to extend their supply pipe, that is supply channel, down to the north, wherein people cannot be able to easily access it. So you have cascades, that's the vehicles that convey CNG, they are on the way to Lokoja, to Ajokuta. When that one comes, he will say to go back, something like that. So things are being done, but probably I will also accept that it have not been in the pace that is expected, especially compared to the rate of conversion, the rate at which people are embracing the initiative. But I also think government might have more to do, because this is the point where government need to bring up some intervention, bring up some grants, bring up some form of financial encouragement to marketers. Because as a business person, you don't just hear that now CNG is booming, then you dive into it. You need to plan, you need to put together the resources, especially the financial consequence that goes into it before you launch out into it. Then after that, you will now have to follow up with government agencies in your certifications.
But then even looking at all of this, a lot of marketers have not even embraced the CNG market to a very large extent. It seems as though most of them are shying away from the market as it stands right now, thereby leaving all the bones, all the T's crossing and all the I's dotting to the government.
When you're saying embrace, what do you mean?
Okay, so what
I came to the station here driving CNG. As an oil and gas player, I came to the station here
what I mean
CNG.
as a player in the field is that a lot of your colleagues, players in the field, have not yet looked for a way to create an avenue to ensure that the availability of CNG is doable for Nigerians, especially within, if we have Ipman, for example, whenever there is importation of fuel into the country, we know how far Ipman can go, and we know how far Ipman is also going right now. When you talk about the importation of fuel and the limitation of importations of fuel into the country, we've seen Ipman come out to talk about this. But then when it comes to the CNG, we don't get to hear Ipman support, Ipman talking about it. So I'm asking, are they shying away? Are players in those, your players in this, are they shying away from the conversation around CNG?
You know, some of these things are things that happens quietly. Many people might not come out and start saying I've started making an arrangement to come into the CNG market. But I tell you for true that many oil and gas marketers, many oil and gas companies today have started gravitating towards it. They've come to the realization of that will be the alternative. In as much as at the beginning, it might not have the impact other alternative sources we have, but they're embracing it. And I watch from now till 6 months' time, you see how many more gas stations that you'll be getting, especially in Abuja here. Various other parts of the country.
Well, we're looking forward to that. But then let me even bring this conversation again to you. In terms of the CNG production in Nigeria and its distribution, the pace at which it is slowly being distributed is like a crawling tortoise as it stands right now. It seems so. Let's use the word, it seems so, like very slow. The pace is very slow. You talked about first we had how many CNG stations, then it has now moved right now to about 12, even within the Federal Capital Territory. The pace seems very slow. I want to ask, is the timing right for Nigerians to delve into CNG as at when we did? Could this be a factor that is making us still a bit slow and be trekking even in the advancement of the CNG product in itself?
Okay, I would like to take it this way. You know, we being Nigerians, being who we are, a Nigerian person does not do something that he sees the need. Unfortunately, it also comes from the leadership. From the leadership, we are more reactive, we are more responsive than proactive. We do not like to put, things ahead. I told you that this whole CNG thing came in around 2007. Nigerians didn't respond to it because as at that time, a little of fuel was something like also. So where you go, you get your full tank in less than 2,000 or something like that. What I buy the CNG and install. Even the installation there was free. 2015, most other people that installed them, they were free. They were pleading with them, NIPCO and Co, pleading with them to come in and do this thing. But it didn't have sense. It's only when it now became an issue, fuel now became a problem for families. That's when people now began to, look for alternative. So it's not as if the whole this thing have been slow or they've not been. It's just that it's when the market is there for you. If you're a business person and you have money, you don't can put your money in the market that is not, the demand is not there. Remember that everywhere in the world, the price of goods and services is determined by the forces of demand and supply. So you take your money, you go and put in a market or in a brand, in a product that the demand was not there, Then you have many filling stations that will have the CNG facility there and grasses will grow there. People don't need to go and buy their PMS and go their way. It's now that they are not driving for it, and that's what propels people to now come into the market, because the market is demanding for it.
Now let's talk mechanical right now, about the cars and the automobiles even in the country. First, we've seen a lot of people delve into converting their cars to CNGs as it stands right now. But there's this fear that is looming around that says that the CNG product, when you use it on your car, it tends to the duration at which your car engine will last. The certainty is not there. So it's a speculation, though, that when you put it, the CNG, it gets to affect a lot of things in your body. But then, how correct is it that CNG has more disadvantage to cars than the fuel?
Okay, the CNG sometimes is referred to as the cleaner or the green energy. The green energy. Do you know what is called, there's something called carburetor cleaner. It's a gas that you use to clean the engine, clean plug, clean your distance. Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
It's a gas, you use it like a spirit. The effect of CNG on engine makes engine last more. Impurities that you can get in petroleum product or oil that sticks, sometimes you bring out your plugs, they are black. You change your oil, it's black. With CNG, you don't get that because it's a spirit. It diffuses, it cleanses the engine. And that's the reason why one of the evidences that a car uses CNG is that you can never see that car smoke. It will not bring out smoke.
I don't say if a car doesn't bring out smoke, how are we sure it's a car, especially in Nigeria?
Smoke is as a result of a combustive process of the engine. When you have a situation where something is, maybe you have a dirty oil there, or the source of energy like fuel or diesel that you're using is not as it ought to be, or the engine is fading, you see the smoke begin to go this thing. But the things that cleans the engine, that you open your engine, it looks clean, it looks sound. That's what spirit does.
You're making it sound like if one delve into CNG right now, convert his or her car to CNG, there won't be need for them to buy engine oil. No. To buy brake oil. Because no, that's how it seems. So
hydraulic, the brake oil
Yeah.
does to your car or your engine oil, what it does is different. What CNG does to your car is to energize your car, exactly what fuel does to your car. Now the question is, if you have a full tank of fuel in your car, do you have a need for engine oil?
Yes.
You have a need for engine oil.
Yeah.
Then with CNG, full this thing in your cylinder there, you also have a need for engine oil. It's to grease your engine. But the injection process, the nozzles, this thing that you see impurities, it is not associated with it because it's a spirit. It's a spirit, and air. It's something that cleanses, something that moves out even impurities when it's not supposed to be there. So you can't get it. Okay, let me put it this way.
All right.
See, the PMS market before CNG came in had 4 issues. The issue of accessibility, we had to get. That's why you see scarcity, long queue in physicians looking for fuel. The issue of affordability, that was the price. The next one was the issue of quality. The issue of quality, because it could be manipulated, and that's the reason why product you could get that could take you certain mileage or something like that. You get another one, it doesn't take you up to that. That was with the PMS this thing a bit. I just had to say it at this point. Another one was the issue of the quantity. You go to some stations, the meters are manipulated and all these things. With CNG, you couldn't get that because for now, you can't manipulate CNG. You can't condensate it. Do you understand?
And you're very sure?
No, for now, it's not yet. Well, Nigerians are Nigerian, but for now, we don't have it yet. It's still coming into the market. It's when it comes in and the prices begin to skyrocket or something. That's when people begin to do that. When prices are still low as it is, for now, there's no need for... What will you use to consider? How much is it per liter?
So the long and short of it is that you're saying that CNG is not harmful to engines, to car engines.
If you give me the choice at the same price, buy either use your car with CNG or use your car with fuel, and the two of them are available, I prefer to use CNG. Yes.
This is quite interesting.
Yeah. I've used the boat. So when I'm saying, I'm talking from an informed point of view, so I know how it is.
So so the speculations that if one uses a CNG,
it's not true. It's not
electrical
true.
parts will
It's,
be burnt.
it's not true. It's not true.
The car engine will begin to develop faults.
It's
or,
not
or
true.
is it that you've not used it for long to be able to experience some of those things?
I've used CNG sufficient enough to be able to tell you that this is what is. Okay, let me give you another. This thing that's like CNG. You know CNG is gas, right?
Yeah.
It's like the gas that you use in your AC. Right? What impact does AC have on cars?
Well, at this point, I think I would be the one asking the questions.
So a car is a machine, just like a human being. When your car is due for servicing, you take your car, you service it. If your CNG kit, sometimes you take it to the technician or the company that install for you. They check leakages for you. You understand? That's mostly what they do. They check leakages without any of your things leaking. But when it leaks, what happens is that when you use it, it will diffuse away easily. That is to say, you put a full cylinder. If it was supposed to last for you for 3 days, after 2 days it enters red. Then you know that it's now beginning to service shorter than it used to serve you before. You take it for servicing, they check it. If it has an issue, if it's components or parts that needs to be changed, they'll change it. And the parts are not even many. So that's that.
And they are not cheap either.
Maybe at this point. Maybe at this point.
All right, so let's talk in terms of this CNG usage on cars, to be precise. Now, when we look at the CNG to a very, very large extent, when we put the CNGs in, you put the CNGs inside your car and you drive around. Is there a possibility for there to be leakage, even from the CNG, knowing fully well that we can have leakages even from fuel, since both of them serve the same purpose? Probably the pipes can leak or something can leak that can make the gas too evaporate without you knowing. Is there a possibility for this?
I will also bring it back to the last question I asked you, because they are similar. If there is a leakage of engine oil in your car, how does it come out? You see the engine oil, right?
Yes.
If there's a leakage of your AC oil, how does it look like? Your AC gas, how does it look like?
Well, at this point you're driving, so there's a possibility of you not knowing that you're having a leakage, and you're just driving.
If there's a leakage that can affect you while driving, you hear the sound.
From the CNG?
You hear the sound from your valves. You hear the sound, the one that can stop you from. When it's leaking, you won't even know. How you know that your system is leaking probably is when you now begin to see that the usage of the gas has dropped. The duration is supposed to last for you has dropped. Then you take it for servicing. They will detect where it is. These things are the valves, the channels for the CNG is made specially for that purpose. And that's the reason why CNG facilities are a bit expensive, because they are not the conventional facility for that is. They knew that they are going to be trapping something that it moves with force. It moves with force, you understand?
So lastly, before I let you go, the queues, even on CNG filling stations right now, are we going to wish them away anytime soon, even in the country?
Well, I'm optimistic. I also am aware that many outlets also are coming up. That's what happens. Okay, let's look at the telecom sector when they came into the market. The price of the service was very high that time because the demand versus the supply of it was not balancing. And when the demand is higher than the supply of anything, the price goes up. So the queues you're seeing there is because the demand is higher than the supply, than the availability of the products. So as time progresses, naturally, more outlets come into place. You cannot drive in and buy and go to where you're going to. Yes, we are gravitating towards that gradually.
Well, that gravitation seems very slow. It seems we're in a hurry to get the CNG. We're in a hurry to get the CNG.
A market is not born overnight. It was only in the Bible that a nation was born in a day. And it's only God that can do that. A market is not born overnight.
But maybe the players, key players like yourself are not praying enough so that we can begin to have manners fall from heaven to make. We need to fast track this the technicality, because the queues are getting, it's becoming disturbing. Imagine just within the Federal Capital Territory, we have this number of queues at various CNG stations. Now imagine across the country.
One of the biggest problems that is contributing immensely to that is that for let me say NNPC at Zone 1 to have availability of products, their casket will need to get to Lokoja and come back. You see it. And I told you that government have an ongoing project that is piping this thing down to the north. So if you have this situation whereby you can just get to Zuba here and put a dispense your station there or something like that, so the availability will be easier. Check how many hours it takes, how the roads are. By land, by roads, go from here to Lokoja to get it come back, and that's when you have it available again. So that's why the queues are like that. But I can bet you that a lot is being done in that. And also, the presidential initiative on CNG, they are actually doing much, managing the situation, and that's why it's improving at the moment. The awareness, the campaign, and all that, and so I think that we'll be fine in no distance time.
Well, Chris Amadi, I want to say thank you so much for finding time to be with us even today on the desk. It has been an enlightening section with you, because you've been able to alienate a lot of fears out there. You've been able to alienate a lot of fears out there about the CNG product. We'll talk about that conversation, but right now, I've been signaled that it is time to go. Well, viewers, this is how far we can run even on the desk today. Remember that you can join the conversation on our various social media handle at Global TV NG. You can join the conversation on our social media handle displayed on the screen right now. And don't forget, you can also download the Global TV mobile app on Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Don't forget that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Till I come your way again on the desk, I am Godwin Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your evening.